Thanks for joining us here on ORPtv. I'm Craig Stagner coming to you from the Rad Auto Lift studio in Nixon, Missouri. It is Sunday, October 27th. Nevada Speedway racing scheduled for Friday, and I believe they were the only track that got racing in as planned and didn't have to either postpone it or cancel. They had their enduro race. This is their once a year event, timed event for how many laps they could make during that time. Your winner, Steve Agee, followed by Sean Hendren, Ryan Rushley, Bobby Arms, Norman Mackley, and then your next five is Pat Nair, David Haney, Ronnie Coulter, Chris Howard, and Randy Arrington. So congratulations to them. I believe that pretty well wraps up this year for Nevada. But of course we'll let you know about that if they schedule any more events. The Ozarks Area Racers Foundation announced their 33rd annual Hall of Fame class inductees. This wasn't the actual ceremony. However, they did have a special event at the Missouri Sports Hall of Fame to announce the inductees. And of course, that will be held January 4th of 2020 at the Ozark Empire Fairgrounds in the E-Plex. Tickets, I believe, will be available at O'Reilly's, and that should be coming up probably in the next week or so. But the announcement in itself was a great time. We got to be there and see some of the legends. People like Ned Reynolds was there, Dale Roper, and then along with some of the inductees. This was a great time. It was great to get to visit with Carl Sifferman and Lyndall Scranton, Kevin Freehan. It was really a good time. The Legends class, with Terry Phillips. Now, Terry, of course, as you know, has been racing here since 1986, has well over 100 Lucas Oil MLRA wins, a legend. Of course, this will be a father-son that's both inducted into the Missouri Ozarks Area Racers Foundation Hall of Fame, with Terry's dad, Larry Phillips, also being a member of that. Rob Muhlenberg, another racer that was inducted, Skip Thompson, and Don Marsh. So you have the four racers that were inducted. Like I said, the official ceremony coming up in January. The pioneers that were announced as inductees: photographer and owner of Ron Mitchell's Photos, Ron Mitchell; James Ince Jr., actually a classmate of mine. I've known James since junior high school. He's a Central High School graduate, class of '89. Engine builder, car builder, NASCAR crew chief in the past. Has gotten out of racing in the past few years, but I did hear him talking about it. Sounds like I wouldn't hold my breath that we won't see James back in a crew chief position. I think very well someday, maybe not too far off, you'll see James back in action at that. Hopefully we'll get a chance to talk with him about that. A couple other racers and sponsors that were involved in this that were announced as inductees: Claude Higby and Tony Bone. Tony Bone, posthumously, he passed away. He was the owner of B&B Racing Supplies. So look forward to the Ozarks Area Racers Foundation Hall of Fame induction ceremony. That'll be coming up January 4th at the Ozark Empire Fairgrounds. You want to make sure you get your tickets. They're going to be doing this a little earlier this year. The autograph session will be from 3 to 4:45, followed by the Hall of Fame induction ceremony at 5 o'clock. Always a great time to see some of the newspaper articles that they show, some of the cars, and of course just a lot of legendary people. We saw Randy Mooneyham there. A lot of people that you want to meet, real legends, a great time. Just the induction, the announcement of the inductions was a good time. The ceremony itself is fantastic. You don't want to miss that. While we're talking about some legends, do want to pass along the passing of John Bayless Jr. He passed away on the 23rd. He was 71 years of age. Bayless Auto Salvage on West Bypass has been there, since 1959. So his dad started that. It's a real loss there. Working with some of the salvage companies, I've noticed that it's a really interesting thing. Although they're competitors, it's not like the racing in itself, in that you have racers that compete but when they need help, they help each other out. And the way the salvage yards work together oftentimes is really interesting. So a real true legend in the auto salvage industry. John Bayless had passed away on the 23rd. There's a look at John holding a young one there. Uh, nice man. Also, yesterday, the passing of Gene Timmerman. Uh, Gene is a longtime supporter of racing. His son Donnie is a racer here. Gene passed away. A huge amount of love and respect is being posted about on Facebook today. A real tough pill to swallow, the passing of Gene Timmerman. So, our condolences from ORPtv to the family and friends of John Bayless Jr. and Gene Timmerman. Rain, of course, this week. It's beautiful sunny out here on Sunday, but all this rain caused some issues this week. The historic Bolivar Speedway Figure 8 race was scheduled for yesterday. That is going to be happening today. The E3 Spooker event that they had scheduled yesterday will be run today. Bonterre had an event scheduled for yesterday. That got moved today, so even down in Arkansas. Centerville Dragway had TNT scheduled yesterday and bracket racing today. They canceled the test and tune, but they are bracket racing this afternoon. Springfield Raceway had the Lil Buck 31. It was originally scheduled for Saturday, was moved to today, but with the fog and amount of rain that they had, they just moved it to next week. So the Springfield Raceway Little Buck 31 will be run next Sunday, November 3rd. Rainouts, completely rained out, was the Hillbilly Speedway finale. Have not yet heard back from Franklin Hodges to see if that will be made up or just what they're going to do on that. Lebanon Midway Speedway was a wash. Poplar Bluff, the Motorsports Park, they had a truck and tractor pull event scheduled for yesterday. This was a special event, not their normal dirt track racing. That was canceled, so they'll run that next year. They hated to do that, but said that they did. Jeffers Motorsports Park had their final bracket race season of the year. Possibly. They weren't sure if it was going to be the final one yet. Being rained out yesterday, we'll see if that plays into it. They may make a real effort then to get one more in since the possible finale was rained out. Over at Mocan today, Thursday, Friday, Saturday was, Friday, Saturday, Sunday was the CDRA Team Bracket Series. The test and tune on Friday was rained out. They did get in some racing yesterday, and that's going to be a big event today because they're going to be getting all of it done today. Teams from around the areas competing there in their bracket series. They do trick-or-treating, pumpkin drop. It's a big time at the Mocan Dragway. All the teams get together, and it's the one time that almost like a all-star game where you have all the tracks, the Ozark Raceway Park and Mocan. Those racers compete against each other, but then when it comes to this event, they're on the same team. So it's Ozark Raceway versus Mocan versus, all the other tracks that are there representing. So a really good time being had out there. The Gander Outdoor Truck Series. This race was at Martinsville Speedway. That's where the Monster Energy Cup is today also. 2 races left in that. The Phoenix and Homestead. So that's all that's left. Todd Gilliland with the win. Ross Chastain second. Johnny Sauter third. For your points right now, Brett Moffitt finished 29th yesterday. He was involved in an accident, but he is your points leader at this point. In second, Stuart Friesen, he finished 6th yesterday. Ross Chastain, who was second, is third in points. Now, those 3 are all within 12 points, so they are very close. That is very much still up in the air. Austin Hill is still above the cut line in fourth, but he finished 26th yesterday, but I believe he's like 47 points behind. 36 points behind, actually. Pretty well out of it, so it comes down to Moffitt, Friesen, and Chastain. One thing that did happen yesterday after the race, Todd Gilliland and another one of the team racers have been called out pretty publicly by team owner Kyle Busch, who has said that given that they have the best equipment in racing, they should be doing better than they had been doing previously. Well, yet this was going into yesterday. That's what had been leading up to. So yesterday, when Todd Gilliland won, uh, sometimes in the heat of the moment, they maybe forget that their radio transmissions can be heard by everyone at the track who's listening in on the radio frequencies. Todd Gilliland was pretty excited about his win and made it very clear. I won't even be able to repeat it here, but he made it very clear he was not interested in Kyle Busch coming to the winner's circle to greet him, that he should stay in his motorhome. However, Kyle did make it down there and congratulate him, and later on, Todd Gilliland said, kind of gave a half apology and said it was the heat of the moment, and while he probably shouldn't have said it, he didn't not mean it. So it'll be interesting to see what next year brings. Kind of be surprised if we see Todd Gilliland back in that truck next year. Monster Energy is going to be racing today at Martinsville. Going into this, you have, after today, Texas, Phoenix, and Homestead left. Kyle Busch is your points leader, followed by Martin Truex, Denny Hamlin, Joey Logano, Kevin Harvick, Chase Elliott, Kyle Larson, and Ryan Blaney. Those are your top 8 that are still above the cut. The Xfinity, they were off this week. They have Texas, Phoenix, and Homestead left. Also, your leader Christopher Bell, Cole Custer second, Tyler Reddick third, and Justin Allgaier quite a ways back and forth. Again, remember last week we talked about the fight on pit road between Custer and Reddick. Those top 3 are also still within 12 points of each other. That is a very tight race there also. The K&N West Series raced yesterday at Bakersfield, California, the Kern County Raceway, the Ineos 150. Derek Kraus wins his 4th consecutive race at this track. He really has this track dialed in. Jagger Jones second, and Haley Deegan third. One of the Ozark Raceway Park regulars at the shootouts, Tim Slavens, in his beautiful Camaro, the Wolverine, went to South Georgia Motorsports Park last Sunday in the Radial versus the World class. And Tim Slavens and the Wolverine made it all the way to the finals against Stevie Fast Jackson. Stevie Jackson is a NHRA. He has won classes at NHRA events. He's a legend. Steve is an entertaining guy. We've talked about him kind of being the Ric Flair of racing. Very confident, fun guy to talk to. So when you make it to the finals against Stevie Fast Jackson, you've really accomplished something. It was fairly noted that this car is a steel-bodied, real car that went up against a top-level NHRA racer and almost, as it said, shook up the world. Stevie Fast Jackson does take the win here. However, just coming into this event and taking the runner-up position and final, a huge accomplishment for Tim Slavens and the Wolverine and that whole team, the Zimmerman Racing. They have just gotten better and better all season long, and I can't imagine how much better they're going to be by this time next year. So congratulations to Tim Slavens on a big performance at the Radial versus the World. Here's a look at your race week ahead. What's left of that for the season, brought to you by All Parts Auto Salvage with 2 locations in Springfield, 2600 North Benton and 425 East Kearney. It's getting to that time of year where you have the crummy weather, and there's only a few days that are going to be really nice. So you know there's those things that your car needs, whether it's a new battery. Had that issue in our own family this week where the cold weather took a toll on one of the batteries. We had to get that taken care of. So don't let the bad weather come up and bite you. Get out, check your car out. And if there's something you need, no matter what kind of car you got, All Parts Auto Salvage can take care of you. So 2 locations in Springfield. Let Alton and his crew help you fix your car. Just 2 weeks away from the start of the 2019-2020 Hoosier Tire Arena Cross National Series. That will be starting November 8th. That's 2 weeks from now. We'll have had our first event done. That'll be in DeCoin, Illinois. We'll be there doing some of the interviews and working with Hoosier Tire Arena Cross Nationals and Jay Reynolds. Couldn't be more excited about this season coming up. If you have any questions about the schedule or the classes or anything at all that you have questions about, send us a message here, or you can send a message to the Hoosier Tire Arena Cross Nationals page, or Hoosier Arena Cross Rocks. That's a group. This is going to be a big year. I can't wait to see what is in store for this season, because it's going to be the biggest and best one yet. We want to thank you for your continued support of us here at ORPtv, sharing the page, liking it. We see some of the people wearing shirts. We see decals. It's a real honor to have you as a friend. I love when we're out somewhere and somebody comes up and talks to us and recognizes us from the page. It's a real honor to be your go-to for the racing schedule, racing results, and information about all platforms of racing here across the Ozarks, from dirt track, drag strip, motocross, BMX, go-karts, the RC cars, asphalt, bump and run, ATV, quads, you name it. If there's something we're not covering and you want us to cover it, let us know. If there's a track that we're not covering that we need to know about, please let us know. We're here to be your go-to place for racing in the Ozarks. So, for ORPtv, I'm Craig Stagner. We'll see you back here next week.